ASMRGaming News. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to a new ASMR movie Geek review. So today I'm going to be reviewing the new Marvel movie Black Widow. I just got back from the movie theater, and I watched this new movie. So let me know in the comments what you want me to watch next. I think I might go see Snake Eyes or Space Jam, I'm not sure. But if you haven't seen Black Widow yet, don't worry. This review is going to be cut into two parts. Spoilers, and of course, the beginning non-spoilers part of the video. So the first, 8-10 minutes of this video, I'm gonna label as spoiler-free. And I'm gonna give warning, spoilers, at some point in the video, just to let you know, I'm gonna be talking spoilers. So with that being said, let's jump in to probably one of the most mixed opinion Marvel movies that have come out recently. So let's just say I enjoyed this movie. I have to say that I enjoyed this movie, and I've enjoyed just about every single Marvel Cinematic Universe movie that they've put out since the first Iron Man to Black Widow. I've enjoyed just about all of them. Some of them, of course, are better than others, and some of them are my favorite, like Winter Soldier and Black Panther and Avengers Endgame and stuff like that. Like, there's probably a list of like 5 or 8 that I put up there at the top of my favorite ones. I would say Black Widow is definitely maybe more middle tier, lower middle tier for me at least. Like, I wouldn't put her above any of the Avengers films, or maybe even maybe even Ant-Man, because I really enjoyed Ant-Man and Guardians of the Galaxy. But this was a pretty good movie. So, let's just get this out of the way. There are a lot of mixed reviews on this movie. A lot of people did not like some things about this movie, which I will get into later. And a lot of people really enjoyed this movie. They went in expecting something fun, and they got something enjoyable, you know? I know a lot of people, they like to kind of go along with whatever people are saying about a movie sometimes. I remember when I went to go see Captain Marvel, and I enjoyed that movie. There was like a decent amount of people saying how it was horrible and terrible and it didn't really tie in. And then when Captain Marvel showed up in, Avengers Endgame, I actually appreciated the movie even more, because I saw Captain Marvel before seeing Avengers Endgame, and I don't know, I feel like they did a great job with that movie. And I kind of feel like Black Widow, they were trying to go for that same kind of style. Like, it's not continuing where the story left off after Avengers Endgame, but it kind of takes place in the past and explains some things, and I kind of like that. So, let's see. The movie stars Black Widow, aka Natasha Romanoff, who is the, I would say probably the most popular non-hero character besides Hawkeye in the Avengers movies. Everybody has special abilities and things like that. And then you kind of have Hawkeye and Black Widow, who are extremely skilled, but they don't have superpowers like Thor, or even a special suit with abilities like Tony Stark. They basically are just really good at fighting and, being stealthy and skilled in their abilities. So I went into this movie expecting, I don't know, some kind of action, maybe spy thriller type movie. I kind of went in expecting maybe like Mission Impossible with Scarlett Johansson set in the Marvel Universe. And I have to say, it went in a completely different direction that I was not expecting. It actually kind of surprised me. I really liked where this movie went. It started with an immense bang. Like, this movie, really good intro. Like, it really hits. It makes you excited. And then I would say that the movie has an equally good part near the end. Of course, I'm not going into any spoilers. I'm just letting you know. Really great, really great. I think Scarlett Johansson did a great job in this movie. She said that Marvel and Disney, they've been wanting to give her like her own movie for a while now. For the longest time, there was a lot of memes, people saying like Black Widow, Hulk, and Hawkeye, they never have their own movie. They haven't had their own movie yet. What's up with that? What's going on? And I guess Hulk kind of did have his own movie, but not with Mark Ruffalo. Same goes for Black Widow and Hawkeye. They never really got their big standalone movie that was just based around them. So, by the way, if they make a Hawkeye movie, I'm definitely watching that. Just saying that out there. But Black Widow, good movie, good movie. I really like the music. I was actually kind of feeling nostalgic for, I don't know, the Marvel movies in the last year. Like, after Avengers Endgame, we had the whole like pandemic happen, everything closed, and the only thing that really came out of Marvel Studios was Disney Plus WandaVision, which I enjoyed, but that wasn't like a movie experience at the theater. That was like episodes. We recently got Loki, which also is amazing, but that also felt like a series and not like a big movie. And just hearing the music, Black Widow, I don't know, there was something that made me like feel like excited and nostalgic for like the past Marvel films. So definitely, if you enjoyed other Marvel movies, you have to see Black Widow. I feel like it'll make you appreciate her character slightly more, or even a greater deal than maybe you already did. So that's already a bonus. The movie has a lot of, that kind of feel and excitement of maybe like the Captain America or Thor movies do. I would say don't expect a ton of like magic, insanely high-level CG effects or something like Guardians of the Galaxy or in the main Avengers movies. Definitely go into this expecting something like an Ant-Man or maybe Captain America. I think that's like the kind of thing you should expect from this. Acting was amazing. Scarlett Johansson, great as Black Widow, and I have to say, I liked her more as Black Widow in this movie than I liked Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow in maybe all the Marvel Avengers movies. Like, I know that sounds big to say, but it's actually really cool when she had her own like movie to star in. No one was stealing the show. Like, she was there. It was her movie, and she did a great job, and I enjoyed it. I thought she did great, and I don't know, if I see, maybe a Marvel movie tomorrow with her in it, I'll be like, hey, I kind of like this a little bit more than I did in the past, just because I watched this, so definitely has that effect. Let me see. I have to say, this movie does not have as many fights or action scenes as expected. I'll go into that a little bit more in the spoilers section. But yeah, for a movie about Black Widow, an assassin set in the Marvel Universe, this movie is like 2 hours long, and it kind of misses a little bit on the action, I have to say. An example would be Captain America Winter Soldier. This movie, if any of you watch Captain America Winter Soldier, is like full of action sequences, and they're all really, really good. And the sequences that aren't action, you're getting to know the characters more, the world. In this movie, they have like a little action scene, lots and lots of like talking, backstory, more talking, action scene. and then I don't know, it just felt like it needed a little bit more action, in my opinion. Especially considering like the kind of character we were dealing with. I don't know, it would make sense, I guess, if like an Ant-Man movie doesn't have as much action, but it's a little bit weird when, Black Widow, she doesn't get a ton of action in her movie. That's one area that I feel they should have had a few more fights or more action sequences, because when they do have them, they're really good and you want them to continue, but they're kind of just like over pretty fast. So definitely gonna get into that in the spoilers. Let's see, would I recommend this movie to someone that hasn't seen any Marvel movies? I have to say yes. If you have never watched a single Avengers or Marvel movie, you can actually just jump right into this movie, because it's kind of like a prequel to some of the other Marvel movies, like a side story. It does reference some events from other movies, especially towards like the ending of the movie. But for someone that's never watched any of them, I think you'll be okay. Now, I would agree, you should probably watch all the Marvel movies from the first Iron Man in chronological order to appreciate them. But I felt like this one did a good job of like introducing newcomers to the world of Marvel and giving a little bit about Black Widow's backstory. So yeah, I really like this film. Also, big shout out to Jim Hopper from Stranger Things in here. Yes, he's actually in this movie. I call him Jim Hopper. The actor's name is like David Harbour is his name. But yeah, he's known for playing Jim Hopper in the Netflix Stranger Things series. And he literally just plays himself in this movie. I don't want to give spoilers to Stranger Things, but I kind of joked in the theater while I was watching this to myself, like, hey, this movie takes up where Stranger Things left off, because something happens to him at the end of Stranger Things, and this movie shows him in a very similar scenario in Russia. And I was like, what? So it was kind of funny. Really like that. He was amazing in this movie, by the way. So besides Black Widow, I would say he's like the second best character. And this movie also deals, of course, with Black Widow's backstory and stuff, and there's a lot of great characters and things. I can't really go much into detail here, though, because any little thing I say is kind of a spoiler then. But just know, the movie has like a very satisfying ending, and I can't wait to see what they do with the future of these Marvel films. So I give this one like a 7 out of 10. Like, I don't give it a 10 out of 10 or a 9 out of 10 for a Marvel film, but I do give it a 7 out of 10, which is about the same that I gave for like Captain Marvel, maybe Thor 2. No, actually I really like Thor 2. Thor 1, a few of the other slightly weaker Marvel films, but still amazing. And now let's get to the spoiler section, which is what I'm excited about. So, spoiler. So, this movie starts out with a bang. Like, you know those movies, kind of like Batman Dark Knight Rises, where it starts with the Joker stealing and like robbing from the bank and like killing all his henchmen as he steals. And then at the end, it's like one guy's left, Joker kills him and like runs away. And it was like all intense and crazy. That's exactly how this movie kind of starts out. Like, there's like an unsettling feeling at the beginning of the movie. We get to see a young Scarlett Johansson playing Black Widow. So it's not ScarJo, it's another girl. I don't know who they got to play, but she kind of looked like a young Scarlett Johansson. So I think they did good casting on that. But yeah, it's basically Black Widow as a child. Natasha, she has a sister, mother, and father. They're in Ohio. It's getting dark. She's outside playing. She sees some like fireflies near a playground where they're at. It's kind of a little creepy, a little unsettling. You're like, what's going on here? But I like it. I like what I see. When I first started watching this movie, I thought it was gonna be like a whole backstory on Black Widow. So when it started like this, I was like, oh wow, they're really gonna tell us all about her childhood and everything. but then it kind of goes in a separate direction. So basically, her dad, played by Jim Hopper, from Stranger Things. David Harbour is the actor's name, but I just call him Jim Hopper at this point because that's what he's known for. He shows up, and he basically tells his wife, played by Rachel Weisz, I think I said her name correctly. She is the actress in the Mummy movies that plays like Brendan Fraser's love interest. If any of you watched the Mummy movies, you know what's up, because those movies are amazing. So I was kind of happy to see her in this. So she plays like the mom, and she like tells the kids like, oh, we have to go on a trip, we have to leave everything right now. So they like frantically get stuff in their house and get in their car and drive away in the middle of the night. And then there's like police sirens in the distance as they're escaping, and they drive to an abandoned like airfield, where their airplanes take off, and the dad puts all the kids in there and the mom. And then as he's starting to get in there, police show up and they start shooting, and he's shooting back, and there's like a huge chase on the runway as the plane is trying to leave, and Natasha has to pilot the plane to save her family because her mom got shot, and her dad's like shooting as he's holding onto the wing of the airplane. It was super intense and crazy. I had no idea what was gonna go on, like what was gonna happen. Very great way to start a movie. Like, it got me hooked. I loved it. And then they land somewhere in Cuba. There's this general guy, Russian guy, Dreykov, who's there. Then it's revealed that this family is completely fake. It was an undercover agent family. So the mother, the father, and the two daughters, none of them were related. They were all like fake, so it wasn't even a real family. Which it's kind of crazy to think about that, but they were pretending to be a normal American family in Ohio, but they were secret agents. So what happened was, next, they had this like huge confrontation because like the dad wanted the daughters to stay with him, and then like the general guy sent the dad away, and then the mom was sent away in another place like to be medically treated. And then like the two girls, they were sent to a facility that seemed really ominous, and they really didn't want to go back, and they started crying. This is when the movie got kind of dark. Like, it got kind of creepy. You were like, where are they sending these kids? Their parents aren't here anymore, and they're not even their real parents, and they seem to be really freaked out. Scarlett Johansson's younger version character, I always call her Scarlett Johansson because it's Black Widow, but the actor playing the child version of herself seemed really freaked out about going back, and she was like, I don't want to go back there, I don't want to go back there. So clearly, before this movie even started, she was in some kind of crazy, messed up facility, which we never like actually got to see in this, so was very curious about that. She seemed to be already skilled in fighting before this movie even started, so I was a little bit disappointed because I was hoping we would see more of that origin story, backstory. But they send her and her sister to some kind of like recruitment training assassin facility for like young kids. Specifically young girls. It was kind of messed up. This is when the credits sequence played in the movie. They had this weird version of Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana, but it was like a cover version. I don't know by who exactly. I honestly didn't really like this cover that much. I prefer the original, Smells Like Teen Spirit, but it was alright. And it was just really creepy. They were showing all sorts of like images of like young kids being forced to like train and fight and stuff like that. It was honestly a little bit dark considering this is like a Marvel movie and Disney and all that stuff. So I was like, yikes, this is like, I'm a little bit uncomfortable here. Like, this is not cool. Where's Captain America or Thor or something to come over here and save some people? But once this was all over, the movie like time skips like 20 years or something, so we completely miss out on just about everything from Black Widow's like teenage years, young adult years. It just starts with her already as an adult, in the middle of the plot for a civil war. So, Tony Stark and Captain America weren't getting along in Civil War Avengers, and everyone was like teaming up on one side or the other, and they were fighting. So that's where this movie takes place. So I was like, okay, that's interesting. Okay, let's see what happens. And then it kind of follows Black Widow, trying to play it safe, lay low, not get involved with, the whole conflict. And then it kind of shows this sister of hers, that was her fake sister at the beginning, on some kind of mission somewhere, fighting, and she gets turned back to her normal self. And you're probably wondering, what do you mean turned back? Well, the person she was fighting with had these like special serum, like this antidote, this like red tube antidote thing that she like injected her with before she died. These two assassins were fighting, and she basically freed her, and she didn't even realize she needed to be freed. Now this is kind of confusing, I understand, but basically what happened was, you piece this little by little in the movie. Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, sometime in her teenage years, she escaped this training assassin facility for young girls by this like Dreykov guy that owns this whole thing or whatever. At least I think that was his name. Honestly, I kept forgetting his name because I didn't really care about him that much. But she escaped this facility, and after she escaped, they started like doing some kind of like brainwashing of the rest of the girls there. And I guess Natasha thought like when she left, maybe they continued and other people escaped. What she didn't realize is she was the only one that was basically freed because she escaped before they did this brainwashing thing. So some guy comes to her and all this other stuff happens. I'm not going to get into all that. Just know that Black Widow meets up with her sister and realizes that something's going on, something's wrong. Her sister's like, you never came back for me, you're wrong, what's wrong with you? And Tasha's like, we weren't even a real family and stuff like that. So they have a lot to deal with. Technically they're not sisters, but they were sisters, you know what I mean? Especially considering they were both assassins and they had a little fight scene and they had to like escape because other assassins came after them, trying to kill them because they are awakened or they were liberated. They're not brainwashed anymore. So Black Widow was like, wait a second, I thought I killed this Dreykov guy. Before she joined the Avengers, she made it her mission to kill this guy. And she was like, what happened? I blew up his building. I made sure his daughter went into the building before I blew it up. And you're like, what? Black Widow killing kids? What's going on? But she did this as collateral damage. She knew it was wrong, but she wanted to make sure she would kill this guy. So if the kid was in the building, she thought this would mean that it would kill this actual, big bad guy. Well, turns out he did not die. He's still alive, he's mad, and he has this like special mind control thing all over the planet. He has Black Widows, these widows, not Black Widows, just widows, under some kind of like influence. They can't make their own choices or actions. We get to see early on when they're Natasha and her sister are escaping, one injured widow that's under mind control decides to kill herself instead of revealing information to Natasha and everyone else. So it's kind of crazy and creepy. Some guy controlling all these like widow assassins all over the world. So Natasha's like, whoa, we need to find out where this guy is, where the Red Room is. Creepy name, yes, I know. So they decide to go free Jim Hopper, her dad, from this like prison in the middle of nowhere. It's like Siberian gulag or something. They go there, they free him. He's like all happy, like, oh, my daughters freed me and stuff like that. Like, this guy thinks like he's the main character. It's hilarious. He's great. The best comedic part of this movie, I think. And he thinks nothing's wrong with like his daughters. He calls them his daughters still. He's like, wow, you're both skilled assassins killing people. I'm so proud of both of you and stuff like that. And then they ask him like, where's this guy's Red Room? You were friends with him. We need to kill him. Where is he? And he's like, I don't know. So then they decide to go see the mom. The mom from the beginning of this movie. She apparently is like a scientist that worked on this mind control technology for this guy. So their own mother is the one that basically enslaved all these girls, which I don't even want to get into. It kind of surprised me, like, whoa, that's super dark. So all throughout this movie, by the way, we get to see a very, very famous Marvel character, which was not done justice, I feel, and that is Taskmaster. So, this is a spoiler, but it turns out that the girl that Black Widow killed in this building explosion did not die, but actually was severely like damaged and burnt, and also like her limbs weren't working. Think of Anakin Skywalker, Revenge of the Sith, you know, that kind of thing. So basically, her dad, this main bad guy, made like a suit for her, and she's basically Taskmaster. So I guess it's okay. It was an okay origin story for me. I know a lot of Marvel fans have issue with that. Taskmaster, really cool character, and I have to say this movie did not do him justice or her justice. This whole movie kind of tricks you into thinking like, oh, it's a guy, and then it's like, oh no, it was his daughter all along. Kind of a cool reveal. I like that. Wasn't expecting it. But all throughout this movie, I have to say Taskmaster appears in like 8 minutes of this like 2-hour and 10-minute movie or something. Like, it felt very, very like lacking in terms of Taskmaster, which is a little bit odd considering a lot of the trailers and stuff were kind of showing Taskmaster as the main villain, like Black Widow versus Taskmaster. This is going to be exciting. But in all honesty, the fights, you know, there's like a little fight with Black Widow near the beginning of the movie that's like 30 seconds. There's another fight later on with Taskmaster that's another like 1 minute. And then like the whole ending part of the movie maybe has Taskmaster in like 5 or 6 minutes. So very, very little. They also don't do enough with Taskmaster. I feel like Taskmaster should have been like more involved in the story. They should have done more, just more with the character and everything. So I was a little disappointed at the lack of that. I thought there would be more. Also, the main bad guy is super lame, like super cringy too. Like, it's just some guy in an office controlling people. Super lame. Like, I did not care for him at all. So the fact that Taskmaster was in so little, I was like, okay. And at the end of the movie, Taskmaster is kind of good, because they kind of like free this girl's mind, because her dad mind controlled her. Yes, his own daughter he mind controlled. So they free her, and she has like her own free will, and she's like, oh, I didn't want to do any of those things, and she like left. So maybe we'll see her in the future as Taskmaster, doing more Taskmaster related things, which brings me to more stuff about Taskmaster. Taskmaster is a cool character. This movie kind of reimagines Taskmaster, so you can't really apply older Marvel lore and things to this particular character or this version, because they do their own thing with it, kind of like what Marvel has done with other characters already. Like, there's certain Marvel characters like Drax, from Guardians of the Galaxy, or even Groot, that kind of were changed a lot, and that's kind of what they did with Taskmaster in this Black Widow movie, so I just wanted to put that out there. But I did like the actress, and I did like Taskmaster. I wish we had more of them in this movie. So basically they meet up with the mom, and the mom is like seeming all sketch a little bit, but she's happy. The dad and her have like a reunion, and then like they have like a whole bad family, dysfunctional family reunion where like the daughters are like arguing, like, you didn't love us, you sent us to go to this like weird training assassin camp, we were brainwashed and they like hurt us there and stuff like that. And yeah, it's kind of like messed up. And then like the parents were like, oh, we didn't know, we didn't care, whatever, we're all here now. It was like weird. And this part of the movie is really long, actually. Like, after they rescue the dad and they go meet the mom, there's like this whole like played out family reunion, getting to know each other type scene. And then there's a part where it seems like the mom double crosses Black Widow and her sister and the dad by calling this Dreykov guy to come get them, but we later find out it's actually a plan by Black Widow. They use this kind of like face cloaking technology, kind of like in Mission Impossible, where Natasha puts on like some kind of cloaking device on her face, so she seems like her mom, and her mom puts one on to make herself seem like Natasha. So she gets to roam free in this huge flying castle facility in the sky. Yes, you know the movie Castle in the Sky. Well, this is kind of like that. There's this huge like flying fortress in the sky where this main bad guy rules. He has his own like office up there. A ton of Black Widows, or a ton of widows training. They're not Black Widows because there's only one Black Widow, but a lot of widows up there training. He's up there in his office and he starts questioning Natasha's mom, but secretly it's Natasha. And then he kind of figures out something's wrong. And Natasha tries to kill him, and then he laughs at her and is like, "You can't kill me, it's pheromones," or something like that. It's the dumbest cop-out I ever heard. He's like, "I've locked your brain neuroreceptors to my pheromones, so if you smell me, you can't kill me," or something like that. And I was like, bruh, all the writers over at Marvel for Disney couldn't come up with anything more, I don't know, unique. It just seemed really weird to see in a movie like that kind of like plot line, but whatever. So at this point, Taskmaster is like fighting Natasha's sister, and like her mom and dad reunion, and they like escape together, and they're trying to like free the widows in this facility with this antidote that they had. They were trying to protect it this whole movie. They're escaping. This facility starts blowing up. I'm getting some things mixed up, but I'm just trying to get the general story out there. Natasha then starts joking and laughing at this guy, how he's pathetic, and he really is. He's super cringe. He's up here in his like flying palace, controlling people and thinks he's like awesome. He's kind of cringe, but good acting. This actor did a good job playing an unlikable character. Black Widow then, she just like smashes her face into the desk and breaks her nose so she can't smell, and it like inhibits her brain receptors for her nose or something like that. And then she starts beating this guy up, and I was so happy to see that. And then the other widows are like escaping the facility, and it's like, oh no, this is bad now. So we got Taskmaster here, we got the widows here, everybody's fighting. What they do is Taskmaster takes this guy, and they decide to escape this facility because everything is breaking, and there's like 20 widows versus Natasha, and he tells them like, fight her and make sure it's like painful or be cruel or something like that. Basically, he said to make her die slowly and painfully, so not cool. And they all start ganging up on Black Widow, fighting her. I was expecting a super cool, long action sequence. What I got was maybe something that was like a minute long, but it was still cool. Basically what happens is Natasha Romanoff's sister, Black Widow's sister, comes in with like an explosive serum, a bomb, which turns everyone completely back to normal. They're not brainwashed anymore. And then they all escape. They have to like run away. This whole facility's breaking, crashing out of the sky. Black Widow and her sister parachute and like jump to safety. And then Taskmaster comes to fight Black Widow as they're free falling, and there's like a huge fight in the sky. Super cool stuff. I loved all of it. Then this guy does end up dying, by the way, this Dreykov guy. So I really enjoyed seeing that. I was like, yes, goodbye. He blows up. That was super cool. I love that. And then they crash land on the ground, and the widows are safe. Taskmaster is safe too. They kind of like save them all, so they get to go, and Black Widow's family all goes away as well, and so everyone kind of survived and like left. At least the ones that weren't killed, the bad people. And then like the Shield, I think it's Shield. I want to say FBI, but it's Shield agents show up to the scene because of course they would. Something exploded out of the sky, and then Black Widow stays there intentionally to go to jail and try to, get Tony Stark and Captain America to be friends again or something like that. So it's kind of cool. Then the movie kind of ends, and then there's an after credits sequence where it's very unexpected, but there's like a whole kind of like little storyline that takes place after the movie ends, which is specifically about Black Widow after Avengers Endgame, where she sacrificed her life to save everyone, and then her sister shows up at the gravesite, and then she's like, "Oh, my sister," and this lady like starts telling her like, "Yeah, you want to know the one responsible for your sister's death?" And she was like, "Yes, tell me." And she's like really mad, and then she hands Black Widow's sister a picture of Hawkeye and says it's his fault, and then it just ends. So we're like, oh man, this girl is gonna go after Hawkeye, thinking that he killed Black Widow. Like, come on. Like, he tried so hard to fight her up there, if you watched Avengers Endgame, so she wouldn't sacrifice herself. That's so cheap for someone to say that it was his fault. So really hope that gets resolved, but it was kind of a sad but happy ending. And I like this movie. I really did. I recommend seeing it. It was a little bit weird at times, especially the whole like family reunion part. Super dysfunctional family, but I enjoyed it. You kind of understand why Black Widow is the way she is. I mean, after she's been through all types of things like that, it's kind of expected for her to be how she is. So, yeah. Overall, I enjoyed the movie and I like that. So, yeah, that was Black Widow. I enjoyed the movie for the 50th time, I think I said that, and I hope you all enjoy this ASMR Movie Geek. If I have to say one thing, though, it's this movie feels very, like human. There was nothing like superpowers or anything like that in this film. So there were like so many moments where I was like, please, Thor, please, Tony Stark, just show up and fix this in like 1 minute. Because literally anyone from the Avengers, if they were in this movie, all these problems, even this main bad guy, they would just go in there, beat this guy up, fix everything. But the fact that it's Black Widow and her sister and everybody else, they don't have superpowers. They have to rely on their own abilities, and there's a few parts of this movie where I was just like so mad, like, oh, I hate these guys. Like, can we please get someone to beat up these bad guys? Like, hey, Captain America, you free? But of course this was taking place like during Civil War, so that wouldn't be possible. But still, good stuff. So thank you all for listening and watching this review, and I will see you all next time.